Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of The Golden Call, episode 45. Today we have Nocky T and me as your host, Ryan Chandler. Today's topic is Nick's favourite guy in the world, Andrew Tate. You're a big fan, aren't you, Nick?
Fuck, I hate the guy.
Hate is such a strong word.
What?
Give me 5 reasons right now why he's a twat. I'm putting you on the spot. 5 reasons, go.
Misogynistic comments.
1.
Influencing young men in a not non-educational, because some of the stuff he says is actually all right, but in a way that is damaging because he's so hardcore in some of those beliefs.
He is very hardcore in his
3,
beliefs. Yeah.
You don't get that many allegations from the police for not doing something horrendous. 4, literally seen a video of him beating a woman. I mean, that should have been the first one. And then 5, I think the way he carries himself when he does interviews and is challenged on his views is he's been media trained since, but I think he's just a fat child, mate, in the way that he talks. There you go. There's 5 on the spot.
He is definitely Marmite, right? Love, hate. Some people love him. Some people hate him. The 300,000 people that are paying him $50 a month in his Hustlers University group certainly love him. He's making like $15 million a month or whatever it is from subscriptions from his very, very strong and opinionated following that absolutely love him like he is a god. Now, I'm not going to lie and attack me if you will.
I will.
But for the right reasons, I'm a bit of a fan.
Big ol', I'm going to put a boo button. I'm editing this. So there's going to be a boo in this. Come on, Ryan.
I'm a bit of a fan, right?
Tell me why you're a fan of the woman-beating, misogynistic,
look,
damagingly
does he actually beat women? I don't know. I've never seen him beat
seen the video.
And I certainly don't support people beating up anyone, let alone a woman. But I haven't seen it anyway. However, maybe that's something that could sway my mind. But that aside, his business acumen, I like his business acumen. He's done considerably well. I listened. So when he first come on the scene, and this Andrew Tate guy was everywhere. Obviously now he's been arrested. He's been detained in a prison in Romania for apparent human trafficking violations and kidnapping. I don't want to go off track here, but come on, the geezer's a he claims to be a billionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's certainly got hundreds of millions of dollars. Do you really think he needs to kidnap a girl?
Maybe that's why he's got the money, mate.
Possibly.
Maybe Hustlers University is the
trafficking university of the world.
Laundering, mate. Maybe it's the laundering. Maybe that's the money laundering.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know how much human traffickers get paid, but it must be a hell of a lot to live his lifestyle. Anyway, I watched his first ever Hustlers University before he got famous.
Right.
So this is, you may have known him for being a kickboxer, possibly. I think he's on Big Brother or something as well. But he then brought out this low-key course called Hustlers University. Basically, it's him talking about his 100 business tenets of how he's been a successful businessman. And it was good. Like, really good. Like, good business acumen. You can clearly tell he's a very experienced guy. I actually learned a little bit from it too. And I thought, yeah, this guy certainly knows what he's talking about. You're still looking at me.
No, because I don't deny it. I don't know everything you've just said till now. I will let you carry on.
And
don't deny
and then
what you've just said.
obviously, if you're saying some of the stuff that he says on social media, I'm not talking about like the woman apparent misogynistic stuff.
It's not apparent. It is misogynistic.
Listen, I love women, and I've definitely seen some of the stuff he says, and I believe some of the stuff does cross the line. But I think a lot of it is fake to get attention. Where attention goes, money flows, and that's all he's doing.
Yes, not right.
It's not right, and he's leveraging the drama because people love to watch drama on social media, and he's very clever at doing that. He's creating his own attention, good and bad, around him, and he's monetizing.
I'm going to jump in.
It's very clever.
He's doing what every other media team has ever done in the world. Sky News, CNBC, Fox News, all of them have all done the exact same thing that Andrew Tate does, and then they slam him for it. They create news for themselves.
Yes.
They clip the small part and then they push it out. He has even had his team take the most outrageous stuff and push it out online to get more attention. Where
taking stuff out of context,
money flows. Yes, exactly. I agree. But there is an air of responsibility you must have to a level of how many people you are talking to. He is talking to not just like a classroom of people. He is talking to the world, mate.
Yeah,
millions, billions of people on social media are watching what that guy is saying. And if that guy is talking about how women can be your property, and he is talking on a level that he owns women, he buys women, so on and so forth, mate, that's damaging. That's so bad.
It's definitely a bad message to put out there, especially to young guys that are aspiring to be like him. And that is one of the things that I certainly don't disagree with. So the part of him that I'm a fan of is the business acumen. Just because I'm a fan doesn't mean I like the guy.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not saying, I think this guy's great. I want to be like Andrew Tate. Certainly not. But you can't discount the fact that even us talking about him here today, he was the most searched guy on YouTube and Google. He's done something right to get there.
No, right, don't get me wrong. There's a few, because the thing is, for the first week that I saw the Andrew Tate content, I saw stuff where he said too many people are playing video games and putting all their energy into a video game to build their life up to be millionaires, to have cars, all that sort of thing. And they won't do it in real life. The reason they won't do it in real life is because they are too afraid. Because it's, if you do it in real life and it goes wrong and you die, that's it. You got one shot. Whereas in a video game, you can reboot, you can keep going, so on and so forth. So I do very much agree that he's
got some great
things
analogies
that he says.
Yeah.
As a whole, though, the way he carries himself, man. Like if the way I think about it, right? This is how I think about it. If I was Andrew Tate and everybody knew me, wealth and all, for being that person, I would throw myself off a bridge. Like that is just not what you want to be known for. There's so many more people who are wealthier, who are in better positions than the guy, who haven't had to bully and use those tactics to get there.
Yeah, he's used some really bad tactics to get drama to himself, like the woman one, right? That's a really bad message to put out there. Like that's definitely below the belt in trying to create drama to monetize the attention. That is definitely below the belt. It certainly worked for him because that is one of the biggest things that people do talk about. He's been on Piers Morgan, right? Twice. So, and all Piers Morgan wanted to talk about was him being a misogynistic. I didn't even know what that word meant until Andrew Tate come on the scene. You know what I mean? So it's like he's literally getting all the right press for all the wrong reasons.
Right, exactly.
And then monetizing it. And he's thinking, this is working in the early days for him. This is working. I'm double downing on what works. And then it's just blown up everywhere. Then everything gets taken out of context. Then it gets blown up even more. Like you say, most probably from his teams. So he's definitely mastered and fully understands the full cycle of how social media works. And you don't do that by fluke. He's done his research.
No, I understand.
He's cracked the algorithm. That's a smart
he's broken
guy.
The Matrix.
No, but he has literally cracked the social media algorithm. You don't become the most ever searched man on Google for not cracking the algorithm. Like,
yeah, I agree.
He's done it, and I've got respect for that. Maybe I don't like the way he did do it, but you got to take your hat off to the guy. It didn't happen by fluke. It doesn't happen by chance. Look, and he's put in the work.
Also, the way that he was, was it Muay Thai he did? Or was it kickboxing?
Kickboxing, yeah. So 4 times kickboxing world champion.
To be a 4 times kickboxing world champion, you've got to be ruthless and you've got to be dedicated and disciplined and all of the good stuff. But along with all of the good stuff, he also carries all of the bad stuff as well, which is why, mate, if he didn't, we wouldn't even know who he was, and we wouldn't be talking about him today. It's because of the bad stuff, which has put him up on this big fucking, I'm not going to say pedestal, but it's put him up in this, the attention.
In this big arena of attention, right? And a whole world was talking about him and looking at him, weren't they?
Right, mate. If you're building a business, you have an online course. If you started spouting off shit like that, I'm sure you would get the attention that Andrew Tate got.
But I wouldn't do that. No, because you have to be ethical.
That's my point.
And also,
you have an air of responsibility.
But not even about being ethical. That's not my belief, right? I talk about, even on this podcast, I talk about my beliefs in the world, my perception of the world, and how I view certain topics and subjects like this one about Andrew Tate. I'm certainly not going to start lying about stuff, saying about women and being my property and stuff like that to get attention. No, because it's not authentic anyway, and it's not what I believe in.
But that's why I disagree with
I think he's been inauthentic. he's saying that stuff. I don't necessarily think that's his belief, but he knows it's going to cause drama. In the 100 Business Tenets that I listened, I found it on Spotify. It's a good listen for anyone that should go and watch it. It's Hustlers University. It's the first one, not 2.0. And he has some great tips on there. Some of it's not great, but a lot of it is good. He even says on there, like, basically, I'm looking to attract attention. So what I done this one time, I knew that like Star Wars fans were usually males, right? Young. That's my target audience to sell my Hustlers University to. So I found a popular Star Wars Twitter account and I started slagging off Star Wars underneath. What happened? Thousands and thousands and thousands of comments all going, who the fuck is this guy slagging off Star Wars? Bang, 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 bang. And he's telling you this. He's saying, then all I done, I kept subtly dropping stuff in there about Hustlers University. And what happened? Bing, 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 bing. He's getting subscription, all coming through, people signing up to his Hustlers University. So, like, he clearly manipulates what he knows, cause drama, monetize it. You know, it's a smart guy, takes balls to do it because you're going to get hated for that, which he is by a lot of people,
including me.
Yes, as one right here. Look, I'm not saying like, yeah, I think this guy's great. I'm not saying that I completely hate him. I think a lot of stuff that he says isn't his actual true thoughts and feelings, especially about women. He's just manipulating the system to get paid.
Yeah. That's it, mate.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Bro, look, don't get me wrong. Like I said, there's that mindset thing that he said to do with, people escaping into games versus reality that I agree with. And there's certain things that he said that I have agreed with to do with like work ethic, and also there's a big divide as well. And I'm going to be really careful on this subject because otherwise you can get cancelled so quickly online for talking about anything to do with this subject. But he does talk about how there's a lack of masculinity nowadays and it's frowned upon to be just standard masculine. Like, everybody wants to attach the word toxic if you're just a guy who likes fast cars, likes guns, likes action movie, likes gymming, likes girls, like
I like all the above.
Mate, so do I. And we're labelled toxic men for that, and that's one thing that I'll agree with.
I hate labels. Just let people be who they want to be.
Mate, I'm exactly the same. I think labels are ruining society.
Yeah, but why do I care what makes you happy?
Exactly, mate. That's exactly it.
Unless you're not doing anything bad.
So in that sense, I'll agree with him in that sense. It's just the problem is, mate, there is a lot of stuff around him that, like I said, it's the responsibility thing for me. But
let's look at his background, right? So I've listened to a few podcasts on him. I find the guy quite interesting. So grew up in Luton, right? Luton, right? Yep. Is that outer London?
And so shithole. That's what that is.
grew up in Luton. His dad was a grandmaster chess player, taught him to play chess. He was beating fully grown adults from a very young age. I think like under 10 years old. He was like a master chess player. I watched him wipe the floor of Piers Morgan, which was quite funny. And so
wait, in which interview?
The number 2. So
the first one, I thought Piers Morgan slapped him
I'm on about Piers Morgan pulled out a chessboard.
Right. Okay.
And Piers Morgan's all quite high and mighty, like, well, let's see if you're good as what you say you are. And then Piers Morgan says the most silly statement in the world: I was my high school chess champion. And
wanker.
Andrew Tate's like, all right, let's see how we go.
That guy's also
and Andrew Tate obviously beats him.
Right.
But anyway, getting back to his kind of story, he's brought up in Luton. I think he had a couple of jobs, didn't like it. He thought, right, how can I make money? His mind was always racing. He said he could never sleep. He was always thinking, I've got to be active. I've got to be doing more. How can I just let my mind rest? So he got into kickboxing. So he'd be training all the time. That'd make him tired. He could actually sleep. So he became a fighter, but he said fighting didn't pay that well. So he ended up starting up a telesales company with another guy. The guy ended up being a cokehead, so that business went downhill. So they ended up he started up his own telecoms company, doing sales on the phone. Got really good at sales, learned about business. Then, of course, started the cam girls. The cam girls. Do you know about the cam girls?
No.
So a lot of people say that he was a pimp, but do you know on like remember the old one on TV where when we were younger, like Babe Station?
Yeah.
So
I might have heard of Babe Station.
Yeah. I don't know what they do on there.
Yeah. I've heard of it maybe, but
I hope my missus ain't listening. babe, don't delete the channel. Yeah, why do we need the extra Sky package, Ryan?
Not a clue.
It's part of the entertainment package.
Yeah, I bet you know the number on Sky as well. It's in the 900 somewhere.
It's in the 900 somewhere. Or it used to be. I'm not sure now. But anyway, and it's all online now, right? So it's the girls, and you could chat to them and say, "Oh, do this, do that." right? So he started that up. He said the girls weren't making much money. He said because they didn't know how to talk to the guys.
Right.
So what he done, he got men in. This is quite funny, right? Behind the computer screen, the camera wasn't obviously on the men. The girl will pretend she's typing. Is really a man talking to the man that was watching her, saying, "Can you do this, man?" And the guy's like, "Hey, baby, yeah, no worries. So what really turns you on?" It's really a guy talking to them, and she's there just doing whatever. And he said sales skyrocketed. So he started doing that, and 70 girls work for him. Then he started up some like mini casinos, slot machines and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's obviously had this really good kind of business mindset. He's used the money that he made, which he says it wasn't a lot from the fighting, maybe 100, 200 grand a year, reinvested it in this cam girl thing, then reinvested it in the opened up some casinos. Then obviously he completely blew up online with the Hustlers University. So he's had a pretty good kind of story from Luton guy. I think he moved to America at some point with his mum when he was younger. And I think like, I quite like the story, humble. I do like a humble beginning story.
Yeah.
Now, put aside all the shit he said about women and that, he has achieved a hell of a lot. I mean, the guy drives around in a fucking Bugatti. Well, not anymore. It's just been impounded by the Romanian government. So
I was going to say some Romanian policeman's brought that home.
Yeah, but like he's clearly done well for himself, and he's a smart guy. He knew how to monetize the attention. And that's clever shit. And he manipulated it, and he said some bad stuff, which turned a lot of people against him. And he's got a lot of haters because he said that bad stuff. He clearly doesn't give a fuck.
Dude, don't get me wrong. In terms of somebody who's gone from zero to hero, and I mean zero to hero in terms of wealth,
story.
It is a good story, mate. But it's also, like you said, and you've used this word 5 or 6 times, manipulative. Yes. He's a manipulative person.
Very, very clever, yeah.
And I'm not about
But
that.
you've got to be able to read in between the lines when you're hearing him say stuff. So on his social media, for example, he'll be saying, and he loves the word "the Matrix," right, all the time.
Oh my god!
And the reason why he's saying this, he's saying he's not selling his product. Come and join Hustlers University. I will show you how to make more income streams. We've got this professor, that professor. We're going to teach you how to write copy, how to market your company. We're going to teach you X, Y, and Z. You will never hear him say that. He sells the why. So he's always saying, the Matrix has got you. It's got you locked into your 9 till 5. You're a slave to the system. You have to break away from the system. You have to escape the Matrix. You can only do this by making your own money. You have to start your own business. By the way, in Hustlers University, we got loads of people earning their own money now. And everyone's what's Hustlers University? This is what I need to get away from the Matrix. And he attached the two together so well from a marketing standpoint. Leave the Matrix by using Hustlers University as your vehicle, and marry them two together in every single post that he does. Boom. He's now every
single post he did.
Yeah. Wow. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, hands down. I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, even his own claims on some of the earlier podcasts, he's saying he's worth $300 or $400 million. So he's clearly done well. I'm not really taking my hat off to the guy and saying that I'm an advocate of him. I'm like, yeah, everyone should go out and be like Andrew Tate. Certainly not. But you can definitely take lessons away from his story. And good or bad, you can learn lessons from everyone.
I agree. And look, bro, I'm not sat here like saying, I think it'd be very, very small-minded to sit here, listen to the stuff that you hear from Andrew Tate and then go, oh, he's such an arsehole. And then that's it. That is the be-all and end-of-all. I just think he's an arsehole. Yes, you should. You're right. You should look at the good things and kind of study somebody like this because he's obviously done very well for himself.
Study, exactly.
And like, this is it. But you can, this is...
Don't just turn yourself off from someone that was the most searched guy on Google. What did he do to get there? Like, especially if you've got your own business and you want to expand.
Yeah,
or...
bro, I'm gonna lay it on you here.
Hit me.
Hitler was the most known man in the world back in 1939 to
for ethnic
1945.
Cleansing.
Right.
Fucking hell.
But he was the most searched man. So by that logic, mate,
the most searched for man.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, mate. He fucking everybody knew him. Everybody knew that. I mean, obviously they didn't have Google back then. But But my point is,
word of mouth.
He was a meticulously one of the greatest thinkers that has ever lived for the horrendous wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But that is again somebody who, and I mean, I like how nowadays everybody uses Hitler as like the benchmark for evil.
Yeah,
like nobody can be more like that.
But it was bad, man.
But that's it.
We're not going to get into that.
No, we're not.
Today.
But my point being there is like he was a notoriously known person for the wrong reasons, even if he had a great mind. So, like, because you can look at that the same way as Hitler, mate. I can write Hitler's story next to Andrew Tate's. He came from a small beginning.
Yeah.
He fought and was passionate in World War One and was a massive nationalist towards his thing. He hit a bit of bad luck, was thrown down by the system, the Matrix, or whatever it is. And then the guy studied when he was in prison. This is why Hitler was so prolific in World War II. He studied Roman, Greek, and I can't remember what was the other thing.
The War of Art, Chinese.
Mate, he literally did. He got books. He literally read everything.
Absolute
and then that's
tactician.
why he came
But then
out.
he did spread himself too thin and lost the war.
But he was speaking, mate. He was speaking to millions of people.
And convincing them.
This is it. And it started small and it got bigger. Exactly the same as Andrew
And that's
Tate.
why the government are shutting Andrew Tate down, because they're like, whoa, hang
then
on.
gets bigger. That's it, mate. And this is the
But
thing.
there's people marching the streets last week in Greece saying, free Tate, free Tate.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, they were. A massive, I'm talking easy 200-300, all men, marching through the streets of Greece.
Greece, my home nation, you've let me down.
Yes, your home nation.
Let me down.
Right? Saying, like, free Tate.
I am
free
Irish
Tate.
as well, so I'm currently leaning on the Irish
He's a
side
mixed
now.
bag.
That's it.
All right, but let me ask you this one time.
Yeah, go.
Andrew Tate walks through that door now.
Yep.
He comes in to shake your hand. Would you shake it?
No.
You wouldn't.
No, because I really don't agree with his morals.
So then,
Hardcore do not agree with his morals.
he comes in out, he says, hi, I'm Andrew Tate. I've just listened to your podcast. I want to talk to you about me. I'll give you a bit more about my background. He puts his hand up to shake it. You're going to say no.
I'm going to say, mate.
And then you're going to get Andrew's toe to your face.
I'm going to go.
Kickboxer.
Oh, mate, I'd kill him. I'd kill him. I'm going to Jake Paul level call him out right now. Like, yeah, I could beat Andrew Tate in a fight. Mate, just throw some sand in his eyes. He'll go down. Kick him in the nuts. He'll be fine.
You're watching too many films.
Mate, all I'm saying, mate, is if he walked through the door right now, I'd hear him out and I'd ask him a lot of questions that would benefit me.
Yeah.
And then I would also take this opportunity to ask him loads of questions where it's not been a media setup. Because, mate, we're in Golden Suite HQ right now. This is transparent as fuck.
Yeah.
There ain't nobody here. There's no agenda. We're just the only agenda here is hard work and belief. Believe in yourself. That is it, mate.
And just chatting on this podcast, trying to share our views with the world, and if it helps some people,
that's it.
We're on to a winner.
Do you know what? I'd plug him in a mic and I'd sit down and I'd ask him a shit ton of questions. Yeah, and I'd go deep into why he thinks a certain way. It would be
such a good, real conversation because a lot of his podcasts that I've listened to and watched on YouTube, a lot of them end up going down the same route.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are just asking about him. You know, where did you start off? How did you make all this money? About being a misogynist or an apparent misogynist and all this sort of stuff. So
I don't think it's alleged anymore, Ryan. I think there's enough clips out there.
I just try and get in there just to wind you up.
Yeah, I know you are, and it's grating me a little bit. It's just this is the thing, mate. We could go on for fucking ages in circles about.
But let's leave it down to the listeners. What are you guys saying? Andrew Tate, love him or hate him? Do you agree? Are you in Nick's boat where you just hate him, you don't want nothing to do with him? Or are you in my boat and think he is actually a guy you can take some value lessons from? Doesn't mean I support him. Doesn't mean I'm a complete Andrew Tate lover.
I feel like you are at this point.
In whatever.
I've seen the poster in your bedroom, mate. You...
Well, it's one of the only pictures of him with hair.
There's a rolled up picture behind this wall over here.
And why does he always sit like this anyway with his fingers? What's that mean?
Mate, is this the Illuminati thing?
I don't know.
Is he trying to break the Matrix? Is that what it is?
He's always like this, isn't he? I'm not sure what that means.
I think you studied him a bit too much, mate.
Maybe. I just followed him on social media. But I checked out that Hustlers University thing and I actually found it quite insightful. But guys, for anyone which is listening to this, let us know. Let us know what you think of Andrew Tate. He seems to be in the always, well, not so much now since he's been incarcerated, but in that social media hype. But I don't think he's too bad. I think the bad stuff he says it isn't real. It's just generated for social media hype, man.
Unbelievable.
Well, thanks for tuning in as always, guys. We'll catch you in episode 46.